Hey guys, Caller here bringing you a solo cast of Jangbi vs Yellow Arnc in the ClubDay MSL round of 8. I'm continuing my coverage and of course the coverage of me, Moletrap, and Diggity of the MSL as we go towards the finals here of the ClubDay MSL. So glad to have you guys with me here. This is going to be an uphill battle, I feel, for Yellow Arnc. He is on the side of the bracket with Cal and Stork. So the winner of Cal versus Stork, which is already up on the Violotech account, will play the winner here of Jangbi and Yellow Arnc in this best of 5 series. And the reason why I say he's going to have an uphill battle is because he is not that strong against Protoss, whereas Jangbi is very strong against Zerg statistically, and the first 2 maps really favor Protoss. Here is Yellow Arnc, the Zerg player, at the 12 o'clock location. His opponent is Jangbi at the 5 o'clock location. Yellow Arnc is 46% lifetime against Protoss, whereas Jangbi is 62% against Zerg. And looking at this map, it is very favored towards Protoss in the Zerg versus Protoss lineup. 30% Zerg versus Protoss wins, so 70% of the games played have been won by Protoss. And I think it's Protoss favored for the same reason that Protoss versus Terran. This is Terran favored. Like I said, I have this theory where Terran likes narrow chokes, easy to defend natural expansions more than Protoss, but Protoss likes those attributes more than Zerg. And in this case, the natural expansion is fairly easy to hold with those bridges. Those bridges in the middle of the map are going to make it hard for the Zerg to surround a Protoss army, just like it's hard for a Protoss to surround a Terran army. So those things make it rather Protoss favored here in this matchup. The second map is even worse, actually. Byzantium is 0 and 8 so far, Zerg versus Protoss. So it's going to be really hard for Yellow Arnc to deal with the fact that these 2 maps are not that well suited for him in this matchup, and he is the only remaining Zerg in the round of 8 right now. But in any case, though, we've seen the pylon put in an interesting position there for Jangbi. I'm not sure if he's going to go for a Forge Fast Expand. It's going to be his cannons are going to be able to cover his ramp, certainly, and his natural expansion, the Nexus at least, but it's not going to prevent Yellow Arnc from crossing the bridge and maybe getting close to his base, although perhaps Jangbi isn't too concerned about that, so long as he can hold his ramp. And we're seeing Yellow Arnc going for the 12 hatch here, so he's going to go for this fast expand. And, you know, recently we've been seeing a lot of Zergs going for fast expands. We've seen them going for over pools or 9 pools, but it looks like Yellow Arnc is going to go for the traditional 12 hatch here and try to play a slightly longer game here. Probably he's going to go and double expand once he realizes what Arnc is doing, what Jangbi is doing, which looks like it is actually going to be a 14 Nexus. Okay, so given the fact that he's seen the 12 hatch, he can actually go for the 14 Nexus. Of course, now he's going to be putting down the Forge. So this is really going to work in Jangbi's favor a little bit here. Being a 2-player map, you can, of course, scout your enemy very soon, and Arnc has not sent out a scouting drone, so he's still in the dark here, and I really think Zerg players, if they go 12 hatch, really should send out that extra drone. So if they see something like this occurring, where the opponent has gone for Nexus first, then they can actually go for double expand before spawning pool if they want. Anyway, though, his Overlord is now going to see it, and he's probably going to expand again, is my guess, at his counter here. What he's going to do in reaction. He's actually putting down a 3rd hatch in his base, which lends me to think he's actually going to be starting off with a 4 hatchery build, but actually no, he's getting his gas also. So it's going to be 2 base on 2 base, I think, unless he decides to go for a 4th hatch later. This could be a fake, though. Maybe once he gets his Zerglings out, he will go for another expansion, and actually won't really focus on the gas. It's going to be interesting here. Meanwhile, Jangbi has definitely picked up a solid economic position, and he'll be ahead if it's 2 base versus 2 base, of course, given that he went Nexus first, then Gateway, then Forge, and he's only probably going to have to build 1 cannon here. So definitely a very economic build here from Jangbi, and really taking advantage of the fact that it's easy to scout in this map. So he scouted early, and he went 14x. Seeing the cannon go up there in a nice position, actually. This is interesting. So instead of the cannons going in front of the Nexus, we're going to see him put it behind the Nexus and use the Nexus sort of as a shield. So we'll see what the Zerg player here decides to do. Arnc going for the early lair. There's no way he's going to prevent Jangbi from scouting this, though. So I'm going to guess he's going to go for Lurkers. It could be possibly a 3-hatch Muta build. Once again, a pretty old-school build. Or it could be something like a 3rd hatch into Scourge, and then into 2 more hatcheries, and then Mass Hydralisk. We've been seeing that actually quite often, too. Just getting the Spire for the Scourge. But well, it'll be interesting to see. Could be for Lurker Contain. Who knows? It's going to be really important for him to try to get rid of this scouting probe, though. And that's a problem when you only have 2 Lings. It is virtually impossible to get rid of a probe without speed upgrade. You just really can't, in fact. You really need a lot of Lings, and you need some lucky micro there. And anyway, we're seeing the Stargate going down for Jangbi. And given the fact that he's got the Stargate down so early, I don't think Arnc is going for any Mutalisks. He might go Spire first just for the Scourge, but it's going to be interesting, though. I'm certainly curious to see what he's going to do here. Given that he's sort of at a disadvantage, this is kind of an interesting build. I mean, I really like opening with the overpool speed or the 9-pool speed against Protoss, just because it forces them to not put themselves in such an advantageous position as they are in right now, especially with the scouting. I mean, at the pro levels, this is partially the reason why people go for the Zergling speed so early, is just to get rid of the scouting probe. And you know, Arnc is completely revealed here in his strategy. You know, Jangbi will know he can just get up a number of Corsairs and deal with any number of mutas, and meanwhile he's going to be going for a Templar Archives pretty soon. So most likely we're not going to see any mutas. We're probably going to just see Scourge, and probably another expansion here is going to be my guess. By the way, I think I'm going to give predictions before every series I do from now. I think it makes it more interesting, and certainly you can see whether I'm right or not, but I'm going to predict Jangbi's going to take this series quite comfortably, to be honest. I don't know how Arnc is going to respond here. He did beat Flash earlier, but he actually lost to Jangbi in the group stages. That was his one loss so far. And you know, it's going to be hard. It's just going to be hard in general. He did lose to Type B also actually once. Anyway, so Scourge, I'm sorry, the Corsair out. It's going to kill this Scouting Overlord here. Those Zerglings in the front really didn't do much at all, and we're probably going to see the 5th hatch going down right now. We saw the 4th hatch going up at that expansion location. I think Arnc actually could have double expanded to start with. I actually like doing that, but of course he's the pro player. He knows better than I do, but I like that double expand if you see your Protoss going fast expand like this, and then getting the 4th hatch inside your base, and so is the 5th hatch, just so you can get a little bit better economy at the early game there. But anyway, so we're seeing the Hydralisk Den, yeah, and all the gas mining here, creep colony going down. Pretty standard here so far from Arnc, and he's actually gone for a quadruple expand total, or actually a triple expand total, I guess. He's gone for 4 base. He's going to pick up both bases in the back there. That's actually quite smart. He's going to use them to get a really strong macro build here. And right now, if he's allowed to keep these expansions, of course, he'll be ahead of Jangbi once again. Seeing some cannons going up in the main here. You know, we're going to Jangbi's going to be safe against any Spire build here, any Mutalisk build, of course, because he scouted it so early. But actually, he's building a surprisingly high number of cannons, maybe just to be extra careful. Also picking up a couple Overlords, but a very, very withdrawn game so far. And the first DT out for Jangbi. Oh, it's going to kill off that Zergling. Nice way to alert Yellow, though, that it's coming. And Yellow is going to be playing this defensive Zerg strategy. It's actually really hard to break. I do like the strategy. I don't usually play it because my macro isn't good enough, to be absolutely honest. I prefer more micro-intensive games. But certainly it is a viable option against Protoss, especially on a big macro map like Destination is.